and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Aisyah binti Rosli, matric number 1190171, and I am from KBA1. So in this video, I would like to share about Chinese cultures. First of all, let's get to know our introduction about culture. Culture is a way of life that develops and is shared by a group of people and inherited from generation to generation. Culture is made up of many complex elements, including religious and political systems, languages, clothing, buildings, and works of art. Language, as well as culture, is such an inseparable part of the human self that many people tend to consider it genetically inherited. When one tries to communicate with people of different cultures and adjust to their differences, proving that the culture is learned. Culture is a holistic way of life. It is complex, abstract, and broad. Many aspects of culture also determine communicative behavior. These socio-cultural elements are widespread and cover many human social activities. From all these meanings, culture can be deduced as the whole way of human life, including the result of creation and thoughts in accordance with the spiritual and physical desires that become a practice for the well-being of a group of people. Culture has a close relationship with society. According to Melville J. Herskovits and Bronislaw Malinowski, everything that exists in a society is related or can be determined by the culture that belongs to the society itself. This ideology is known among anthropologists, human studies, as the ideology of cultural determinism or determination. Herskovits went on to view culture as something that was passed down from one generation to the next, and this concept was referred to as past organic. For fun facts, origin of the Chinese in Malaysia. The history of the Chinese present began with the development of Malacca as a trading center, followed by Penang and Kuala Lumpur. A large number of Chinese in Malaysia came from two provinces in China, namely Hokkien and Kwangtung. Their presence brings together not only merchandise for exchange, but also their traditional costumes, cultures, and clothing patterns, which are then adapted to the local atmosphere. We move on to way to dress in Chinese community. The classic Chinese clothing, which was originally layered, laden with gold thread and silk embroidery, can now still be seen modified over time and suitability. Long robes, cheongsam, Shanghai shirts, and sanfu remain worn in ceremonies. Most are still produced in China using brightly colored silk and brocade fabric with gold and silver thread ornaments. Comfortable and elegant cheongsams or long shirts are also often seen to this day. Typically, a cheongsam has a high neck, buttons on the shoulders, a snug shape at the waist, and slits on the left and right of the fabric. These dresses are usually made of silk, satin, and other types of cowhide fabrics. Sanfu means shirt and pants in the Cantonese dialect. It is the daily dress of women of Chinese descent apart from the cheongsam. It is favored by middle-aged women and those who work on farms, mines, or at home. Sanfu is made of a thin fabric that is not patterned or finely floral. Sanfu is also worn by men of Chinese descent but has slightly differences from sanfu worn by Chinese women. This outfit consists of a loose shirt and torn in front and high collar and baggy pants worn with trousers like baju Melayu. These dresses are usually made of soft fabrics such as silk fabrics.
往事浮现，恍然如梦一场，爱恨此消彼长，定不回望。我陪你同往，念想从未消亡，踏断红尘，不肯相忘。
We will also learn about Chinese traditional food. The food culture of the Chinese community has its own specialty. The main ingredient in the Chinese menu is soy, which consists of tofu, tauchu, and soy sauce as well as others. This material will then be treated with a spice used by kaum Melayu like cinnamon, coriander, and etc. Mooncake is a traditional Chinese food. The history of this cake began after the Chinese overthrew the Mughal occupation at the end of the Yuan dynasty. At the Mooncake Festival, the traditional food was the mooncake itself. They marched in conjunction with this festival carrying lanterns. There is also a tradition state that this mooncake is given to Dewa Dapur to ensure the Dewa Dapur cannot deliver bad news to the Maharaja of Heaven because he cannot open his mouth due to eating mooncake. Therefore, this mooncake is important for the Chinese. In Chinese culture, dishes usually consist of 2 or more main components. One main sauce is usually rice and is accompanied by dishes of vegetables, fish, and meat. Among the famous Chinese food is yusheng, which is a Chinese New Year consumed in Malaysia and Singapore, where relatives gather around a table and toss pieces of ingredients into the air with chopsticks when asked, chanting greetings to mark the beginning of a prosperous year. Then, Celebration Days part is here. Chinese New Year celebration. Red lantern decorations of various sizes and shapes often fill the residential areas of the Chinese community. This indicates that the celebration will be celebrated quite merrily. The interior decoration of the house and the lanterns and door sills will also be painted in red to welcome the arrival of guests. The floral decoration is also red in hue, creating a cohesive and harmonious spirit of cheerfulness. In the old days, the elders of the Chinese community often instructed the villagers to hang red paper on the doors and windows of their houses at all the time before the New Year. This is because they feared that an animal named Nian, monster, will be violent in their home area. The color red was greatly feared by Nian and was able to repel the monster. The arrival of the Chinese New Year, which is a Chinese holiday, is one of the reasons why children are expected to be given ang pao or a red envelope containing money. For those who are not married, they are also eligible for ang pao. At the Chinese New Year celebration, ang pao is usually given by the married or the unmarried. The red color of this cover symbolizes good luck. The amount of money contained in it is usually required to start with an even number because the odd number is associated with the money given during the funeral. The amount of money given at the wedding is usually to cover the expenses of the audience as well as to help the bride and groom. Next is Chap Goh Meng. The 15th day of this festival, which is the day of Chap Goh Meng, is no less important. It was the last day of the full moon, marking the closing of this festival. The festival falls on the night of the 15th day of the month, the first month of the Chinese Lunar New Year. The day is also called the Festival of Lights, as the lights are lit at night as the main activity on the day of the festival. Chinese New Year is not only celebrated by Chinese around the world, but also celebrated by Koreans, Vietnamese, Mongols, and Miao, who are influenced by China in terms of culture and religion. Another one is Mooncake Festival, one of the festivals celebrated by the Chinese ethnic in Malaysia other than the Chinese New Year is the Mooncake Festival, or better known as the Mid-Autumn Festival, celebrated on every 15 days of the 8 months in the lunar calendar. At this time, the moon usually floats bright, making it a perfect time to celebrate the summer harvest. In Malaysia, this festival is also known as the Lantern Festival. On this day, this festival is celebrated with a mooncake meal and a lantern procession. Mooncake is one of the special dishes at this festival. Mooncake is made from a sweet butter with red bean kernels or lotus seed butter or salted egg yolk. Nowadays, various types of mooncakes have been promoted by traders. According to legend, the order to revolt was spread through letters placed in the mooncake that eventually succeed in overthrowing the Mongol dynasty. Although there are many different fairy tales about the origin of the Mooncake Festival, but eating mooncake is an important thing in this festival. The round mooncake is also known as the unification cake, a symbol of unity. Although the times are different, but the Mooncake Festival is still an opportunity for the Chinese to express their feelings of intimacy between family members and relatives and pray for blessings and good luck. Let's start with our Q&A session.
First of all, the one on the forehead, it's called 花店 in Chinese. There's a legend about how this became popular. During the northern and southern dynasties, there was a princess called Shouyang. She loved plum blossoms and was admiring them in the palace. Well, I can't find any plum blossom trees near me, so here I am with cherry blossom trees. The princess got tired, so she lay down beneath a palace roof and fell asleep. There was a plum blossom tree nearby, and the plum flower fell onto her forehead. When she woke up, it left a floral imprint. She couldn't get it off until 3 days later. All the ladies in the palace loved it, so they tried to copy it, and it became a trend. These decorations on the temples are called 斜红. Doesn't it look like a scar to you? It actually is supposed to resemble one. The story goes that during the Three Kingdoms period, Emperor Cao Pi had a consort in the palace named Xue Yelai. She was new and wasn't familiar with the surroundings. The emperor liked to read under the candle at night, and he was surrounded by tall crystal screens. One night, Yelai came and accidentally ran into one of the screens and hit her temple. After she wiped out the blood, her face looked like a beautiful sunrise. Her scar didn't make her less popular. On the contrary, she won the heart of the emperor with her amazing sewing skills. So all the other consorts tried to copy her by drawing the scar on their temples. And that became a new trend. The one on the dimples are called 夜店. As you can guess, it's supposed to resemble the dimples on the face. There's also a story behind it. In another country, Wu, during the Three Kingdoms period, the crown prince Sun He had a favorite concubine, Lady Deng. One night, the prince was waving a crystal ruyi around. Ruyi is a curved decorative scepter. He accidentally hit Lady Deng's face that made her bleed. So he asked the doctor to make some topical medications that could get rid of the scars. The doctor used expensive materials like amber powder in the formula, but they added a little too much. After Lady Deng was healed, she had red dots on her face.
As for conclusion, let's count 1 to 7. 7 principles of intercultural communication. Number 1, respect, openness, curiosity. Number 2, you are not the center of everyone's universe. Number 3, culture, power, status. Number 4, learn from the other. Number 5, develop core skills. Number 6, reap the inner dividends. And number 7, reap the outer dividends. A short quotes from Clyde Clucon. Every human is like all other humans. Some other humans and no other human. Last but not least, during this pandemic COVID-19, let's all of us cut the virus chain by practicing 3 W's. Wash, wear, and warn. And avoid 3 C's. Confined places, crowded places, and close contact. Obey the SOP. #kita jaga kita. Stay home and stay safe. Thank you.